Ms. Schwartz. Ms. Schwartz, on this much-discussed universal health care expansion, $634 billion, the tax increases don't pay for it. Most experts say this program is going to be $1 trillion easy before it's said and done. Your thought, please.
Well, the president has put out a really important marker. We know for our economic competitiveness, for our families who are struggling with health care costs, our businesses struggling with health care costs, and the government struggling with health care costs, we need to tackle this. We need to make sure that Americans have access to quality coverage and to quality care. And we need to weigh in on this. We have to make sure that we get quality and efficiencies, save dollars where we can, and then make sure we use those dollars to help every American have access to quality health care. Our small businesses are crying out for this. Certainly we need to tackle it if we're going to tackle the costs in government.
Of course, small business is not real happy about these tax hikes. Mr. Camp, there's two thoughts on the table. Let you weigh in. Number one, is the tax increases going to be enough to pay for it? A lot of people say if you raise cap gains and upper income taxes, you get less revenue from lower growth. And number two, where's the competition? Where's the pro-market consumer choice competition in this health care plan?
Well, I'm actually a person who thinks we need to address health care reform, and so I commend the president for taking it on. Look, I don't think these numbers add up, and I think if you really tax investment, you're going to get less of it. But one of the real concerns I have in this budget proposal are the energy taxes. That's a tax on every American. That's not just the wealthy. It's going to raise the cost of electricity 68%, $1.27 for a gallon of gas, according to the EPA and MIT. Look, energy, it pervades everything we do. It's people's home heating, it's how they drive to work, it's the food they eat, and that ultimately will transfer over to employers. And we're already going to tax employers. I know they call it a tax for the wealthy, but 70% of those folks are small business owners. We need to support the small business sector of our economy, not tax it.
Representative Schwartz, I mean, there is a tax in here for everyone. Does it make sense to raise taxes on anyone at a time when the economy is lagging? I mean, doesn't that keep people from spending? Doesn't that keep companies from investing?
Well, let's remember what we just did. And of course, Democrats had to do that alone in the House. We did not get one Republican who supported the tax cuts for businesses we just passed in the Recovery Act and the tax cut for 95% of American families, so that both businesses and families really got a lot of help in this recovery package. And we also know, and we hear from both families and businesses, that if we're going to be competitive in the global marketplace in the future, we have to start making smart investments now.
Representative Schwartz, I don't think that answers the question. I mean, do you want to raise taxes on anyone right now? Does it make sense to raise taxes on anyone today, given the economy?
The first thing we have to decide to do is, are we going to try and tackle health care reform, energy costs?
So yes, and of course, you do want to raise taxes.
No, the issue is that this is our job as members of Congress, to wade through this budget, to figure out the best way to first find savings in the budget, and the president outlined many of those, to find ways we can move dollars around so we don't raise taxes. It's never the first choice, and that's our job as members of Congress, is to weigh in right now, figure out how we can pay for what we spend.
Mr. Camp, the taxes are not scheduled to go into effect until 2011, the expiration of the Bush tax cuts. What are the odds, in your judgment, that the Ways and Means Committee, the House and the Senate, will, in its wisdom, seek to move these tax hikes forward into 29 or 2010, because they're going to need the money, because you're talking about, what, a gigantic, huge 12 or 13% of GDP deficit? Will they move these tax hikes forward?
Well, you know, only time will tell. The Speaker's been on record saying she wants to repeal the tax relief that we have right now. The administration, I think, frankly, has said, just let them expire. And the Speaker has a lot of authority around this place. I don't know what's going to happen ultimately, but I think the real concern here is these energy taxes that are going to pervade our economy. But also, I think there's an important part of this legislation. They actually erode the charitable deduction. Now, we're in a recession. What we want to do is encourage people to give to food banks, to the Salvation Army, to homeless shelters, to Habitat for Humanity. All of these social service agencies depend on charitable contributions from people. A, they're taxing, and B, they're eroding this charitable deduction for. That's a bad policy. I frankly don't think the Democrats are going to support that.
I want to give Ms. Schwartz just a quickie. How would you handicap the odds that these proposed tax hikes for 2011 will be moved forward in 29 or 2010?
The president's been very clear about this, is that the Bush tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans do expire, and we're going to let them expire. These are for the wealthiest Americans.
No, I understand.
95% of Americans.
I understand that.
I don't think we're going to move them forward.
Right.
I don't think
That's
so.
what I'm looking for. Thank you for that answer. That's
Absolutely.
what I was looking for. I mean, listen, at least we got a couple years to invest and start small business, and then, of course, comes
I
the
hope
deluge.
it happens. That's what we're trying to make happen. Absolutely.
Maybe, politics can change in 2011. Who knows what the midterm elections will bring? That's all I'll say.
All right.
Ms. Schwartz, Mr. Camp, thank you ever so much. Appreciate it.
Trish.
If this economy doesn't improve, who knows what those midterm elections will bring. Anyway, the Obama administration saying it's